Happy to be here. Okay, so I want to talk about. Let me move that so it's not reflecting in my glasses. Well, it's reflecting in my glasses. We're not going to worry about it. Low carb quarantine shopping. I went and did some research. First of all, I was actually looking for tips in general for low carb life when you're under stress from a pandemic, for example. And I stumbled on the Diet Doctor's website. I love the Diet Doctor. He has such great information. And this was a little piece about how to prepare. This was from a couple of weeks ago. How to prepare for quarantine when you are a low carb person. Because, if you look at videos of all those people doing that panic shopping a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Marsha. All those people doing those panic shopping, like they were stocking up on lots of high carb stuff, pasta or whatever, and yeah, toilet paper. Hopefully they're not eating that. But hey, Bodhi. So yeah, people kind of like tend to, in a crisis, to stock up on things like pasta or whatever. But if you are a low carb person, then what are you going to do? So he had a really nice list there. It was actually written by one of his coworkers, but he had checked it. So I'm going to pretend that he wrote it. and there were various tips there for ways to, hey, Susan, for various ways to survive, if you will, quarantine as a low carb eater rather than somebody who's constantly eating cookies and pastas and so on. Yeah, we all do stress eating, but we can try and at least curb it a little bit if we're low carb, at least not have that stuff in the house, or at least not eat it ourselves. So I was going to talk about three tips or three areas, if you will, that he suggested. That he suggested for people who eat low carb, who want to make sure they can still eat well and be healthy and support their immune system while we've got this pandemic going on. So number one, he talked about the fridge, things that you can put in your fridge. Eggs. I actually get eggs from a farm, so I don't even need to refrigerate them. That's even better. But if you do buy your eggs in the store, like in a supermarket, make sure they're refrigerated. Eggs. Cream, heavy cream. If you make keto stuff, you will probably want to have heavy cream in the house. Cheese. Again, this is all assuming that you eat dairy. If you don't eat dairy, then there are other things, but the non-dairy equivalents tend to be higher carb. So I'm going to assume that you do eat dairy. Low carb that will keep for a while, like cauliflower, broccoli, and so on. If you're going to buy lettuces and baby spinach or whatever, just realize they're not going to keep as long. But you can keep the cruciferous vegetables will keep for quite a long time in the fridge. So that was one, was fill your fridge with things that you're going to need. And then the second one was the freezer, and that is things that obviously you can buy frozen veg. Seemed to have been a bit of a run on those where I live, but I still was able to find some things. You can buy frozen or buy fresh and freeze meat, fish, things like that. Those will keep long, if you have a chest freezer in particular, those will keep for a long time. Again, cheese, you can freeze cheese if you're careful with it. Let me see. Again, cream. The thing about cream and cream cheese, if you freeze them, they will freeze well, but then when you thaw them, they'll be kind of grainy, so they're good for cooking. You wouldn't just want to put them in your coffee or on your bread, respectively. And then eggs. I have never frozen eggs. I would love to know if you have. The suggestion in this article was if you need to freeze eggs is to crack them into muffin tins, wrap in, I guess, plastic wrap, and then freeze it like that. I don't think you can actually freeze whole eggs. I'm not sure that would be a good idea, but just, break them into a muffin tin and freeze them like that. So interesting. I've never done that. Maybe I'll try it. And then the third one was the pantry, and canned, jarred goods, all those things that you would normally have, like even if it's like tomato sauce, olives, whatever you would normally have, make sure you stock up on those. Nut flours, almond flour, whatever kind of non non-wheat flours that you use. If you're low carb, I use quite a lot of nut flours. Again, not in excess because it does have carbs in it, but I make a mean quiche with an almond crust. Psyllium husks, they're great for fiber. One of the issues with the classic keto diet is that it doesn't have enough fiber in it. Put in a tablespoon of psyllium, zero husks, not powder. Ugh, powder is horrible. But tablespoons of the husks, 6 grams of carb, but also 6 grams of fiber. So it's zero net carbs, and it gives you 6 grams of fiber, which is good because women need 25 grams of fiber a day. Men need like 30. And if you just eat like a classic keto diet, you're not, oops, let me get rid of that. You're not going to get enough fiber. So psyllium is a really great way to bring that up if you need to. And again, nuts and like almonds, walnuts, macadamia nuts, pecans. Those are all relatively low carb nuts, but go easy on them. And then it's interesting, you can get all kinds of jerky and so on. I don't eat meat jerky myself, but I would love to get the salmon jerky sometime. Maybe I'll try making some. I do have a dehydrator. It's an interesting thought. Anyway, so those were the 3 things that I wanted to tell you about. Your fridge, your freezer, and your pantry. How you can make sure that even though we're in a pandemic, we're supposed to stay home, we're not shopping as much as we used to, and there's not as much as we are used to having in the stores. We can still keep to our low-carb lifestyle, which is much better for the immune system than stress eating on carbs and spiking your insulin, which is really not good for you. So anyway, if you would like me to send you all the things that I just talked about, just drop me a message. I got them off the Diet Doctor's website, so you can go and look there, or you can just drop me a message, and I will be happy to send it to you. So that's it. Have a great day. Remember, I love you. Talk to you again soon.